First contact. The vastness of space stretched out before Captain Ilara Chen as she guided her small exploration vessel, the Stargazer, through the uncharted regions of the Andromeda Galaxy. Earth seemed like a distant memory now, a blue marble lost in the cosmic tapestry that surrounded her. This mission was humanity's boldest step yet into the unknown, a solitary journey to seek out new life and expand the boundaries of human knowledge. Ilara's eyes darted across the holographic displays that filled the Stargazer's cockpit. Streams of data flowed past, detailing the composition of nearby celestial bodies, radiation levels, and gravitational anomalies. It was a dance of information she had grown accustomed to over the past 3 years of her solo expedition. A sudden alarm pierced the quiet hum of the ship's systems. Ilara's hands flew across the controls, bringing up detailed scans of the sector ahead. "What do we have here?" she muttered to herself, a habit born from years of solitude. The scans revealed an uncharted planet, its atmosphere a swirling mass of purples and greens. But it wasn't the planet that had triggered the alarm. There, on the night side of the alien world, a faint energy signature pulsed rhythmically. Ilara's heart raced. This was it, the moment every explorer dreamed of but few ever experienced. First contact. With practiced precision, she maneuvered the Stargazer into a high orbit around the planet. As she prepared for descent, Ilara ran through the first contact protocols that had been drilled into her since the academy. Observe, but do not interfere. Communicate, but do not provoke. Learn, but do not exploit. The ship broke through the planet's upper atmosphere, clouds of alien gases swirling around the reinforced hull. As Ilara guided the Stargazer towards the energy signature, the landscape below came into view. Vast plains of what looked like bioluminescent vegetation stretched as far as the eye could see, pulsing with an ethereal light that matched the rhythm of the energy signature. In the center of a vast clearing stood a structure unlike anything Ilara had ever seen. It was as if someone had frozen a liquid metal explosion, its tendrils reaching towards the sky in defiance of gravity. At the base of this otherworldly edifice, a smaller shape moved. Ilara's breath caught in her throat. It was unmistakably a ship, but one that bore no resemblance to any human design. And next to it, barely visible in the glow of the alien flora, stood a figure. With trembling hands, Ilara activated the Stargazer's landing sequence. The ship touched down a respectful distance from the alien vessel, kicking up a cloud of glowing spores that danced in the air like fireflies. For a long moment, Ilara sat motionless in her seat, her mind racing. Years of training warred with the very human impulse to rush out and make history. Finally, taking a deep breath, she stood and made her way to the airlock. The planet's atmosphere was breathable, but protocol demanded she wear her exosuit for first contact. As the airlock cycled open, Ilara stepped onto the surface of an alien world for the first time. The ground beneath her feet had an odd sponginess to it, and each step caused ripples of bioluminescence to spread outward. The air was thick with the scent of something akin to ozone and wildflowers. As Ilara approached the alien figure, she could make out more details. It, or perhaps they, stood nearly 7 feet tall, with a body that seemed to shimmer and shift like the surface of a soap bubble. Where a human would have a head, this being had what appeared to be a cluster of crystalline structures that pulsed with inner light. Ilara stopped a few meters away from the alien, her heart pounding so hard she was sure it must be audible even through her exosuit. Slowly, deliberately, she raised her hand in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. The alien's crystalline structures flared brightly, and a melodic series of tones filled the air. It took Ilara a moment to realize that this must be their form of communication. She activated her suit's universal translator, a device that had been theoretical until this very moment. There was a brief pause as the translator processed the alien tones, and then a synthesized voice spoke in Ilara's ear. "Greetings, Star Traveler. I am Zigzags of the Luminary. My vessel is damaged, and I am in need of assistance. Ilara's scientific training warred with her awe at this moment. She cleared her throat, her voice shaky as she responded, "I am Captain Ilara Chen of Earth. I'm honored to meet you, Zixix. How can I help?" The crystalline structures on Zixix's body shimmered in what Ilara interpreted as surprise or perhaps relief. "You understand me. Fascinating. Your technology must be more advanced than I anticipated." Ilara couldn't help but smile behind her helmet. "We have our moments," she said, a touch of pride in her voice. "May I approach your vessel? Perhaps together we can assess the damage." Zixix's body rippled in what seemed to be agreement, and they moved towards the sleek, organic-looking ship. As they walked, Zixix explained, "My ship's core was damaged by a gravitational anomaly. I managed to land here, but I lack the resources to effect repairs." As they reached the alien craft, Ilara's eyes widened in wonder. The ship seemed almost alive, its surface pulsing with the same bioluminescent energy as the surrounding flora. She realized with a start that the ship might actually be a living entity. "This is extraordinary," Ilara breathed, her hand hovering just above the ship's surface. "Zixix, with your permission, I'd like to scan your vessel. My ship's systems might be able to identify compatible materials for repairs." Zixix's crystalline structures chimed softly. "You would do this for me? For a being you've just met?" Ilara turned to face the alien, her voice firm despite the tremor of excitement that ran through her. "Of course. Where I come from, we have a saying. A stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. Besides, this is an opportunity for both our species to learn from each other. Isn't that what exploration is all about?" For a moment, Zixix was silent, the lights within their crystalline structures swirling in complex patterns. Then, to Ilara's surprise, a sound emerged that her translator identified as laughter. "Captain Ilara Chen of Earth," Zixix said, their tone warm with what could only be described as admiration. "I believe this is the beginning of a most intriguing friendship." As the alien sun began to rise, casting the landscape in a riot of colors, Ilara felt a profound sense of purpose wash over her. This was why she had journeyed so far from home, why humanity had reached for the stars. Not just to discover new worlds, but to forge connections across the cosmic divide. With a gesture of invitation, Ilara led Zixix towards the stargazer. "Let's see what we can do about getting you back among the stars, friend," she said, her voice filled with determination and hope. "And then, if you're willing, I have about 1,000,000 questions I'd love to ask you." Zixix's body shimmered in what Ilara was beginning to recognize as amusement. "And you, Ilara of Earth, it seems we have much to learn from each other." As they walked side by side, human and alien, towards the stargazer, Ilara couldn't help but feel that this was more than just first contact. It was the first step on a journey that would change everything. For humanity, for the Luminary, and for the galaxy itself. The adventure had only just begun. Cultural exchange. The following days aboard the stargazer were a whirlwind of activity and discovery. Captain Ilara Chen found herself constantly amazed by Zixix's alien physiology and the advanced technology of the Luminary. As they worked together to diagnose and repair Zixix's ship, every interaction became an opportunity for learning and cultural exchange. Ilara stood in the stargazer's engine room, her hands deep in the circuitry of a modified power coupling. Zixix hovered nearby, their crystalline structures pulsing with curiosity. "So, your species harnesses energy through the collision of particles?" Zixix asked, their melodic tones now directly translated by the ship's systems. Ilara nodded, wiping sweat from her brow. "Yes, we call it nuclear fusion. It's how we power our ships for long-distance space travel. What about the Luminary? How do your ships function?" Zixix's body shimmered, a gesture Ilara had come to associate with excitement. "We cultivate symbiotic relationships with energy-producing organisms. Our ships are living entities, powered by the very essence of stars." Ilara's eyes widened. "Living ships, that's incredible. The implications for sustainable space travel are enormous. As they continued to work, their conversation drifted from technology to more personal matters. Ilara found herself explaining human concepts that she had always taken for granted. Friendship. Zixix's crystals pulsed with a soft blue light. You form bonds with individuals outside your genetic line or designated social group. Ilara chuckled. Of course. It's one of the most important aspects of human life. We connect with others based on shared interests, experiences, or simply because we enjoy each other's company. Zixix was silent for a moment, processing this information. Fascinating. The luminary primarily form connections for practical purposes, reproduction, resource sharing, or knowledge exchange. The idea of forming bonds purely for enjoyment is novel. But surely you must have something similar, Ilara probed. Don't you have individuals you prefer to spend time with, even when there's no practical benefit? The alien's body rippled in what Ilara had come to recognize as thoughtfulness. There are those whose energy resonates more harmoniously with my own. Perhaps this is not so different from your concept of friendship. As the days passed, Ilara found herself growing more comfortable in Zixix's presence. She began to recognize subtle changes in the alien's bioluminescence that indicated different moods or thoughts. In turn, Zixix seemed to be developing a better understanding of human facial expressions and body language. One evening, as they sat in the Stargazer's observation deck, watching the alien world's 3 moons rise over the horizon, Zixix posed a question that caught Ilara off guard. Ilara, what drives your species to explore? The vastness of space is dangerous and largely empty. Yet you venture out alone, far from your home, seeking the unknown. Why? Ilara was silent for a long moment, gathering her thoughts. It's hard to explain. There's this drive within us, a curiosity about what's out there. We want to understand the universe, to push the boundaries of our knowledge. But it's more than that. It's about the thrill of discovery, the joy of seeing something no human has ever seen before. She turned to face Zixix, her eyes shining with passion. When I first saw your ship on my scanners, when I realized I was about to make first contact with an alien species, Zixix, I've never felt more alive. It's moments like these that make all the loneliness, all the danger worth it. Zixix's crystals pulsed with a warm golden light. Your species is remarkable, Ilara. The luminary explore out of necessity, to find resources, to establish new colonies. But to explore for the sake of exploration itself, it's a beautiful concept. As they continued to work on repairing Zixix's ship, Ilara found herself learning as much as she was teaching. The luminary's understanding of bioengineering was far beyond anything humanity had achieved. Zixix showed her how their living ships could heal themselves, adapt to different environments, and even communicate with their pilots on a symbiotic level. In return, Ilara introduced Zixix to human ingenuity and problem-solving. When they encountered a compatibility issue between luminary and human technology, Ilara jury-rigged a solution using spare parts and no small amount of creativity. Zixix watched in fascination as Ilara's hands moved quickly, repurposing components in ways their designer had never intended. Your approach is unorthodox, Zixix commented, their tone a mix of confusion and admiration. Ilara grinned. Sometimes, you have to think outside the box. It's not always pretty, but human history is full of makeshift solutions that ended up changing the world. As the repairs neared completion, Ilara realized that her time with Zixix was coming to an end. The thought filled her with an unexpected sadness. She had grown accustomed to the aliens' presence, to their philosophical discussions and cultural exchanges. One night, as they made final adjustments to Zixix's ship, Ilara broached the subject that had been weighing on her mind. Zixix, when your ship is fully repaired, what happens next? Will you return to your people? The alien's crystalline structures dimmed slightly. That was my original intention. However, my encounter with you has changed things. The luminary would benefit greatly from establishing diplomatic relations with humanity. Perhaps I could accompany you back to Earth. Ilara's heart leaped at the suggestion. You'd want to do that. To be the first of your kind to visit our world. Zixix's body shimmered with what Ilara now recognized as excitement. It would be an unprecedented opportunity for both our species. And there was a pause, and Zixix's next words came out hesitantly. I find that I am not ready to end our friendship. A warm smile spread across Ilara's face. I feel the same way, Zixix. The journey back to Earth is long, but I can't think of anyone I'd rather have as a traveling companion. As they sealed the final component on Zixix's ship, a sense of accomplishment washed over them both. What had started as a chance encounter had blossomed into something neither of them could have anticipated. A bridge between two vastly different species, built on curiosity, respect, and the beginnings of genuine friendship. Little did they know that their journey together was far from over. As they prepared to leave the alien world behind, the universe had other plans that would test the limits of their newfound alliance and challenge everything they thought they knew about their place in the cosmos. The repaired ship hummed with renewed energy, ready for the voyage ahead. As Ilara and Zixix stood side by side, watching the bioluminescent plains stretch out below them, both felt a sense of anticipation for the adventures that lay ahead. Their cultural exchange had only just begun, and the true test of their partnership was yet to come. Galactic crisis. The vast expanse of space stretched out before the stargazer as it cruised through the cosmos, earthbound with its unlikely pair of travelers. Captain Ilara Chen sat at the helm, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls, while Zixix floated nearby, their crystalline structures gently pulsing with a soft, contented light. Their journey had been peaceful so far, filled with lengthy discussions about their respective cultures and exchanges of scientific knowledge. Ilara had just finished explaining the concept of music to Zixix, playing a selection of Earth's greatest compositions, when a shrill alarm cut through the ship's tranquil atmosphere. What's happening? Zixix asked, their body flickering with concern. Ilara's hands flew over the controls, her face etched with concentration. We're picking up a massive energy surge. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. The main view screen flared to life, showing a swirling vortex of energy that seemed to tear at the very fabric of space-time. Tendrils of crackling power reached out, grasping at nearby stars, and pulling them in. By the cosmic flow, Zixix whispered, their voice filled with awe and terror. It's a void maw. Ilara turned to her alien friend, confusion clear in her eyes. A what? A void maw, Zixix repeated, their crystalline structures pulsing rapidly. It's a theoretical phenomenon my people have only observed from a great distance. A rupture in space-time that consumes everything in its path, growing larger with each absorption. As they watched, a nearby star system was pulled into the void maw, its planets crumbling, and its sun flaring one last time before being swallowed by the insatiable vortex. Ilara's face paled. If this thing keeps growing, it could threaten entire galaxies. We need to warn Earth, the luminary, everyone. She quickly set to work, sending out distress signals on all frequencies, both human and those Zixix provided from luminary communication protocols. As the messages beamed out into space, the gravity of the situation began to sink in. Ilara, Zixix said softly, even if our peoples mobilize every ship and resource at their disposal, they may not have the technology to stop this. The void maw is beyond anything either of our species has encountered. The human captain's jaw set in determination. Then we'll have to find a way. Together. Over the next several days, Ilara and Zixix worked tirelessly, combining their knowledge and technologies in ways neither had thought possible before. The Stargazer became a floating laboratory, its systems pushed to the limit as they ran simulation after simulation, trying to find a way to close the void maw. As they worked, responses began to pour in from both Earth and the luminary homeworld. Fleets were being mobilized, scientists were being consulted, but the overwhelming sentiment was one of helplessness in the face of such an incomprehensible threat. One evening, as Ilara pored over the latest failed simulation, she felt a gentle touch on her shoulder. She looked up to see Zixix, their crystalline structures glowing with a soft, comforting light. "You need rest, Ilara," the alien said gently. "You've been working for 37 consecutive hours." Ilara shook her head, frustration evident in her voice. "I can't rest. Not while that thing is out there, destroying entire worlds. There has to be a solution, something we're missing." Zixix was quiet for a moment, their body shimmering with thought. Perhaps we're approaching this from the wrong angle. We've been trying to find a way to close the void maw, but what if we could redirect it instead? Ilara's eyes widened as the implications of Zixix's words sank in. "Redirect it? You mean, like a cosmic steering wheel?" "In a manner of speaking," Zixix replied. "The void maw feeds on energy. If we could create a massive energy source, something even more tempting than stars and planets, we might be able to lure it away from populated areas of the galaxy." Ilara jumped to her feet, newfound energy coursing through her. "Zixix, you're a genius. But where would we get that much energy? And how would we contain it?" The alien's crystalline structures pulsed with excitement. "My people have legends of ancient devices called stellar cores, artificial stars capable of producing immense amounts of energy. If we could locate one and modify it, we could create an irresistible lure for the void maw." Ilara finished, her mind racing with possibilities. But wouldn't that just be delaying the inevitable? Eventually, the void maw would consume the stellar core and continue its rampage. Zixix's body shimmered in what Ilara had come to recognize as a smile. Not if we program the stellar core to lead the void maw into a predetermined location. Say, the empty space between galaxies. Once there, we could trigger the core to collapse, creating a localized singularity that would neutralize the void maw. Ilara stared at her alien friend in amazement. That's brilliant. Risky as hell, but brilliant." She paused, a frown creasing her brow. "But where would we find one of these stellar cores? And how would we control it?" "The location of one such core was passed down through generations of my people," Zixix said. "It lies in a system not far from here. As for controlling it," the alien hesitated. "It would require a direct neural interface. One of us would need to link our mind directly to the core." The implications hung heavy in the air between them. Such a link would be incredibly dangerous, possibly fatal. Ilara opened her mouth to volunteer, but Zixix raised a tendril, silencing her. "My physiology is more suited to withstand the neural load," the alien said firmly. "If we do this, I will be the one to interface with the core." Ilara wanted to argue, to insist that they find another way, but she knew Zixix was right. Time was running out, and they had to act. With grim determination, they set course for the coordinates Zixix provided. As the stargazer raced through space, Ilara sent out their plan to both Earth and the luminary homeworld. It was a long shot, a desperate gamble, but it was the best hope they had. As they approached the system where the stellar core was hidden, Ilara turned to Zixix, her voice thick with emotion. "Whatever happens, I want you to know, this friendship, this partnership we formed, it's been the greatest adventure of my life." Zixix's crystalline structures glowed warmly. "And mine, Ilara of Earth. Together, we've bridged the gap between our species. Whatever the outcome, that alone is a victory worth celebrating." The stargazer dropped out of faster-than-light travel, and before them loomed an ancient space station, its design unlike anything Ilara had ever seen. At its heart pulsed a light so bright it seemed to bend reality around it, the stellar core. As they prepared to dock with the station, both human and alien knew that the real challenge was just beginning. The fate of galaxies now rested on their shoulders, a testament to what could be achieved when two different species came together in the face of adversity. The void maw continued its relentless expansion in the distance, a looming reminder of the cosmic stakes they faced. But as Ilara looked at Zix, she felt a surge of hope. Together, they had already accomplished the impossible. Now, it was time to save the universe. Innovative solution. The ancient space station loomed before them, a relic of a civilization long past. As the stargazer docked with a gentle thud, Captain Ilara and Zix exchanged a look of determination. They had come too far to turn back now. "Remember," Ilara said as they prepared to board the station, "we don't know what kind of security systems might still be active. Stay alert." Zix's crystalline structures pulsed in agreement. "Indeed, my people's legends speak of great trials one must overcome to claim the power of a stellar core." As they stepped onto the station, lights flickered to life, illuminating corridors that seemed to stretch into infinity. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and something else, something alien and ancient. They made their way through the labyrinthine structure, Ilara's handheld scanner guiding them towards the energy signature of the stellar core. As they walked, holographic projections sprang to life around them, showing scenes of a long-lost alien civilization. "Fascinating," Zix murmured, their bodies shimmering with excitement. "These must be the predecessors, the beings my people believe created the stellar cores." Ilara watched the projections in awe. "They look almost human, but not quite. See how their limbs move. It's like they're not bound by the same laws of physics we are." As they delved deeper into the station, they encountered a series of challenges. Gravity shifted unpredictably, forcing them to adapt their movements constantly. In one chamber, they faced a logic puzzle that required them to think in four-dimensional space. "I can't wrap my head around this," Ilara admitted, frustration evident in her voice. Zix's crystals pulsed thoughtfully. "Perhaps that is the point. Let me try something." The alien's body began to shift and morph, taking on new geometries that Ilara's eyes could barely comprehend. With a series of melodic tones, Zix interfaced with the puzzle, and the door to the next chamber slid open. "How did you do that?" Ilara asked, amazed. "The luminary have a flexible relationship with physical form," Zix explained. "It allows us to perceive realities beyond the three-dimensional." As they progressed, they faced more challenges that tested both their physical and mental capabilities. Ilara's quick thinking and adaptability complemented Zix's otherworldly perceptions and knowledge of ancient lore. Together, they overcame obstacles that neither could have managed alone. Finally, they'd reached the heart of the station. Before them pulsed the stellar core, a sphere of energy so bright it hurt to look at directly. Surrounding it was a complex array of controls, their design as alien as everything else they had encountered. "This is it," Ilara breathed. "Now we just need to figure out how to move it and program it to leave the void maw where we want." Zix approached the control array, their crystalline structures pulsing rapidly. "The neural interface is here. Once I connect, I should be able to control the core's movements." Ilara bit her lip, worry evident on her face. "Are you sure about this? The neural load could be too much for you to handle." "It is our only choice," Zix said firmly. "But Ilara, I will need your help. Your mind, your human creativity and intuition could be the key to successfully programming the core's path." Ilara nodded, pushing aside her fear. "All right. What do you need me to do?" "Place your hands here," Zix instructed, indicating two pads on the control array. "When I interface with the core, focus your thoughts on the path we need it to take. Visualize it as clearly as you can." As Zix's tendrils connected with the neural interface, the alien's body began to glow, pulsing in sync with the stellar core. Ilara placed her hands on the pads and closed her eyes, concentrating with all her might on the trajectory they had planned. The station rumbled around them as the ancient machinery came to life. Through their connected minds, Ilara could feel Zix's struggle to contain and direct the immense power of the stellar core. She poured all of her willpower into supporting her friend, visualizing their plan with crystal clarity. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. Ilara's eyes snapped open to see warning messages flashing across holographic displays. "What's happening?" she shouted over the noise. Zixix's voice came strained and distant. "The core, it's resisting. It has its own will, its own desires. I can't control it alone." In that moment, Ilara made a decision. Despite the risk, despite every protocol and safety measure, she knew what she had to do. She shifted her hands on the control pads, aligning them with the neural interface Zixix was using. "Ilara, no!" Zixix cried out, but it was too late. As Ilara's mind connected with the interface, she was hit with a tidal wave of sensation. The power of the stellar core rushed through her, threatening to overwhelm her consciousness. But amidst the chaos, she felt Zixix's presence, a beacon of familiarity in the storm. Together, their minds merged with the core's ancient consciousness. Ilara's human drive and determination combined with Zixix's alien perspective and knowledge, creating a synergy that the core had never experienced before. Through their shared vision, they plotted a course through the galaxy, weaving between star systems and navigating gravitational fields. They saw the void maw in the distance, a hungry maw of nothingness that threatened to devour everything in its path. With a mental push that strained every fiber of their beings, Ilara and Zixix set the stellar core in motion. The space station shuddered and began to break apart as the core lifted free, propelling itself into space. Ilara felt herself being pulled back to reality. She staggered as the neural connection broke, nearly collapsing before Zixix caught her with a tendril. We did it," she gasped, her head pounding. "Yes," Zix agreed, their own voice weak with exertion. "But we must hurry. The station is breaking apart, and we need to follow the core to ensure our plan succeeds." Supporting each other, human and alien made their way back to the Stargazer. As they boarded, chunks of the ancient station were already drifting off into space. Ilara threw herself into the pilot's seat, her fingers flying over the controls as she plotted a course to follow the stellar core. As they cleared the disintegrating station, they saw the core streaking across space, a blazing comet of possibility and hope. Behind it, drawn by its immense energy, the void maw followed, its tendrils of nothingness reaching out hungrily. Ilara and Zixix watched in tense silence as their plan unfolded. The core led the void maw on a twisting path through the galaxy, deftly avoiding populated systems and weaving between celestial bodies. It was a cosmic dance of unimaginable stakes, with the fate of countless worlds hanging in the balance. "It's working," Ilara breathed, hardly daring to believe it. "It's actually working." Zixix's crystalline structures pulsed with cautious optimism. "We're not finished yet. The most crucial part is still to come." As they watched, the stellar core approached its final destination, a vast, empty region of space between galactic arms. This was the moment of truth, the culmination of their desperate plan. Ilara's hand hovered over the command to trigger the core's collapse. She looked at Zixix, seeing her own mix of hope and fear reflected in the alien's shimmering form. "Together?" she asked. "Together," Zixix confirmed. As one, they activated the command. The stellar core flared blindingly bright, then began to collapse in on itself. The void maw, drawn by the surge of energy, rushed forward to consume it. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed as if the void maw would simply swallow the collapsing core and continue its rampage. But then, as the last of the core's energy was consumed, the void maw began to warp and twist. The fabric of space-time buckled around the anomaly. In a final, silent explosion of light and darkness, the void maw collapsed in on itself, leaving behind nothing but empty space and a faint ripple in the cosmic background radiation. Ilara and Zixix stared at the viewscreen in stunned silence. They had done it. Through their combined efforts, through the bridging of their two species, they had saved countless lives and preserved the future of entire galaxies. As the realization of their success sank in, Ilara felt tears of relief and joy streaming down her face. Beside her, Zixix's entire body glowed with a warm, pulsing light that she had come to recognize as happiness. "We did it," Ilara whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "We really did it." Zixix extended a tendril, gently wiping away Ilara's tears. "Yes, my friend. We have achieved something truly remarkable today." As the stargazer drifted in the vast emptiness of space, human and alien sat together in companionable silence, marveling at what they had accomplished. Their journey had started with a chance encounter on a distant world, and it had led them to save the very fabric of the cosmos. But both knew that this was not the end of their story. It was, in many ways, just the beginning. For in their shared triumph, they had forged a bond between their species that would reshape the future of both their civilizations. As Ilara set a course back towards Earth, she couldn't help but smile. The universe, she realized, was far more wondrous and full of possibilities than she had ever imagined. And with friends like Zixix by her side, she couldn't wait to explore every bit of it. Triumph of cooperation. The journey back to Earth was filled with a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. Captain Ilara Chen and Zixix spent much of their time in the Stargazer's observation deck, watching the stars streak by as they discussed the implications of their incredible adventure. "You know," Ilara said, her voice soft with wonder, "when I set out on this mission, I never imagined anything like this. First contact was beyond my wildest dreams, but saving the galaxy." She shook her head, chuckling. "It sounds like something out of an old sci-fi novel." Zixix's crystalline structures pulsed with amusement. "Indeed, the luminary have long believed ourselves to be among the most advanced species in the galaxy. Yet, without your human ingenuity and adaptability, we would have been powerless against the Void Maw." As Earth came into view, a small blue marble suspended in the vastness of space, Ilara felt a lump form in her throat. "It looks so fragile from out here," she murmured. "Yet it has produced beings of remarkable resilience and creativity," Zixix observed. "Your world may be small, Ilara, but its impact on the galaxy will be immense." The Stargazer's communication system crackled to life as they entered Earth's solar system. Messages poured in from every corner of the globe, a cacophony of voices all expressing the same sentiments: gratitude, awe, and an eagerness to meet the alien being who had helped save them all. As they began their descent towards the United Earth Space Command headquarters, Ilara turned to her alien friend. "Are you ready for this? It's going to be quite a circus down there." Zixix's body shimmered with what Ilara had come to recognize as nervous excitement. "I admit, the prospect of meeting so many humans at once is somewhat overwhelming. But I am eager to begin this new chapter in our species' shared history." The landing pad was a sea of faces: scientists, diplomats, military personnel, and media from every nation on Earth. As the Stargazer's hatch opened, a hush fell over the crowd. Ilara stepped out first, blinking in the bright sunlight. She turned and extended a hand to Zixix, who floated out to hover beside her. A collective gasp rose from the assembled humans as they got their first look at the alien being. For a moment, nobody moved. Then, as if a spell had been broken, the crowd erupted in cheers and applause. Ilara felt a swell of pride as she watched the humans' reaction to Zixix. Not fear or hostility, but wonder and acceptance. The following weeks were a whirlwind of debriefings, interviews, and diplomatic meetings. Ilara and Zixix recounted their adventure countless times, each retelling reinforcing the importance of their cooperation. Scientists from every field clamored to speak with Zixix, eager to learn about luminary technology and biology. In turn, Zixix was fascinated by human culture and history, spending hours in deep discussion with anthropologists and sociologists. As the initial excitement began to settle, the real work of forging a lasting alliance between humans and luminary began. Ilara found herself at the center of these efforts, her unique experience making her an ideal intermediary between the two species. One evening, as she and Zix took a rare moment of quiet in the rooftop garden of the Space Command headquarters, Ilara broached a subject that had been on her mind. "Zix," she began, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant hues, "have you given any thought to what comes next? For you, I mean." The alien's crystalline structures pulsed thoughtfully. "I have been considering that very question, Ilara. My time here has shown me that there is still so much for our species to learn from each other. I believe I would like to stay, if Earth would have me." Ilara's face lit up with a broad smile. "I was hoping you'd say that. In fact, I've been talking with the higher-ups about a new initiative. We're calling it the Interstellar Cooperation and Exchange Program." Zix's body shimmered with interest. "Tell me more." "The idea is to create a permanent exchange of knowledge and culture between Earth and the luminary homeworld," Ilara explained, her eyes shining with excitement. "We'd send human scientists and diplomats to your world, and in return, we'd host luminary representatives here. And at the center of it all would be a joint space exploration program, combining human creativity with luminary technology," Zix mused. "The possibilities are truly endless." "Exactly," Ilara nodded. "And they want us to lead it. You and me, blazing a trail for our species to follow. What do you say, partner? Ready for another adventure?" Zix's entire body glowed with a warm, pulsing light. "My friend, I can think of nothing I would rather do." As the years passed, the impact of Ilara and Zix's partnership rippled across the galaxy. The Interstellar Cooperation and Exchange Program flourished, leading to advancements in technology, medicine, and science that neither species could have achieved alone. Human ships, equipped with modified versions of luminary biotechnology, ventured further into the cosmos than ever before. Luminary diplomats, trained in human-style negotiation tactics, brokered peace between species that had been at war for centuries. But perhaps the most profound change was in the way both humans and luminary viewed the universe and their place in it. The knowledge that they were not alone, that friendship and cooperation could extend beyond the boundaries of their own worlds, sparked a new age of exploration and discovery. On the 10th anniversary of the defeat of the Void Maw, Ilara and Zix stood together on the bridge of a new ship, the Celestial Bridge, the first of a fleet designed and built by human and luminary engineers working in concert. As the ship prepared for its maiden voyage, Ilara looked at her alien friend, marveling at how far they had come. "You know, Zix, when we first met, I never imagined we'd end up here." Zix's crystalline structures pulsed with affection. "The universe, my dear Ilara, is full of surprises. That is why we explore." Ilara laughed, the sound filled with joy and anticipation. "Well said, old friend. So, where shall we go next?" As the Celestial Bridge engaged its engines, preparing to leap into the unknown, Zix extended a tendril to rest gently on Ilara's shoulder. "Wherever it may be, we will go there together. For that is the true triumph of our cooperation, the understanding that we are stronger united than we ever were apart." The ship surged forward, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of two species united in friendship and common purpose. And as Earth and the luminary homeworld faded into the distance, Ilara and Zix knew that this was not the end of their story, but merely the beginning of a grand new chapter in the cosmic tale of life, discovery, and the enduring power of unlikely friendships.